My name's Sarah LEWKE. I'm actually Sarah McNall, but I go by my artist name, Sarah LEWKE. I've been a teacher for 8 years, and now in the last few years I've been painting more often. Since we moved into this house and I have my studio, it's really easy to pop in often and check on the kids and then paint. And art's something that's always been important to me, but especially in the last few years, I've been able to do it a little bit more full-time. Art is a way of knowing yourself, and also it's a way of like making sense of the world. So we are God's handiwork. God created us, and so when you look at yourself or another person, you see an image of God. And similarly, when we create, when we make art, we are acting like God. We're being creators. So when you look at something that you've made, it's not you, but it's a reflection of you. So it helps you to understand yourself in a different way. And it also, when other people see artwork, they can have their own interpretation of it and their own reflection of it. So art is meant to be shared. It's meant to be shared in community, and it can bring so much beauty and connection between people. Because also you can understand somebody else better when you see their artwork. Community is very important to me. I feel like it would be crazy for an artist to just stay alone in their studio and paint all the time, even though that's kind of what we want to do as like creative people. Sometimes we just want our space. But my inspiration 100% comes from like my immediate community, which is my family and my kids. And then, the community has such a big impact on art because you can share it with people. You can see your art in the community. You can, have people love it and buy it, and it's like art is it's essential. I feel like art is essential to community, and community is essential to artists as well. We need each other so much. I really process my life through painting, and I don't even know that other people can see that necessarily when they look at my paintings, but I find it so helpful, and just like it's a way that I think about my life and I process my life, and I can make sense of things. So everything that happens, hard things, terrible things, wonderful things, it's all for me like another way to process what happens. So I think if people have gone through like really hard stuff, or when people go through hard stuff, art is a way that they can process that and heal from that. And if you can make something beautiful and meaningful from something terrible that's happened, then it can provide healing. And also it's a way for other people to connect who've also maybe had that same terrible experience. If they see that reflected in an art piece, they can find hope in that as well. Like last year, I was grieving with Kayla and over when Jeff passed away. And I only had met him a couple times, but I know Kayla really well. So when I was painting, those thoughts and feelings were coming through. Ended up making a painting inspired by Jeff. And I was hesitant to share it with her because I know that that's her grief, and I felt like it wasn't really my place to, I don't know, I just felt a little awkward about it. But anyway, I ended up showing her eventually, and they have the painting in their house now. And it was like a way to connect with her through the grief of losing her dad. And that I really felt was like inspired by the Holy Spirit, because it wasn't something that I could have like planned to do. I wouldn't go out and, try to make a painting for a grieving friend, because I wouldn't know if that was my place. But through Holy Spirit working and through that just practice, that painting practice, this piece was created, and then it's like, kind of hopeful. It's a beacon of hope, I think. I know that a lot of people struggle with feeling blocked or feeling limited in their own creativity. And I think one of the things that really helped me in recent years is realizing that I have some limiting beliefs about art and about creativity in my own life. And it's sometimes you can discover these when you're in community and when you hear somebody else make a statement that feels so opposite to what you believe. But I think limiting beliefs they're totally optional, and you can just let them go if you want. So something like, there's no money in art. That's just something that we say, that we believe, but it's not necessarily true. Or if you've had a terrible art teacher in the past that's like been discouraging to you, or if you've made a piece of art and then you've shown your family and they don't like it, these can all, like, artists are very sensitive people, so we take criticism we take it to heart. So it's important as a creative person to look at those beliefs and kind of go through them in community and figure out which ones are helping you and which ones are holding you back. So, and the best way, I think, to prove to yourself that you're creative and that you can make art is just to make art. Because if you're making things, then you are an artist. That's it. There's no other qualifications that you need. You don't need any accolades from any other people. If you're making art, you are an artist. That's it. And I would encourage people just to keep creating, even though it's difficult or even though they feel uncomfortable, to just keep pushing through. That's something I would love to like encourage people with, because I get so much joy out of making art, and I would love to share that with other people. I'd love to have other people be able to experience that. We can only express with words so far. They can only get us to certain ideas. There's so many things that we feel that are so complicated, and it's not possible to express it through words. And those kind of things can be felt through art, especially like art and music and painting. These things, when we see them, we can feel a certain way that we can't express in words. I think when you make a piece of art, you are expressing your point of view, and there's truth in that. There's no way to fake that. You don't even need to really know what your point of view is. You don't need to spend a lot of time like discovering what your opinion is or what your point of view is. When you make something, it is a reflection of you. It's the most truthful thing that you can put out into the world, is a piece of art that you've made from your heart. So, and I think people can feel that when they look at something. They can feel the truth in it, and they can feel the like real raw essence of the artist. And that's what they can connect with, because if you're being authentic and you're making things, you are going to connect with the heart of other people, because we can sense that and we can feel it, and that's what comes through. Number one, when we are being creative, we are connected to God, because He's a creator. And I think also every person who is creative is connecting to the Spirit of God, whether they're a Christian or not. And I have come to believe that in the last few years, reading books by non-Christian authors about creativity. And when they talk about it, when they write about it, it's exactly the same God that I know, that I've known my whole life. So it's this incredible thing that creativity really connects us spiritually to all people, regardless of their religious affiliation. And that's just the most beautiful thing, that inspiration that causes us to make art is from God. And it's always connected to that. Personally, I found that when I'm open to receiving information from God in the studio, I can make art that is different than if I have just made it by myself. So I often invite the Holy Spirit in before I start a project. As I've gotten more sensitive to hearing what He says, I can be influenced in color choices and mark making, and decisions in the studio are being like led by God. And it is just like the coolest thing to be able to worship in that way, to be able to have God actively involved in my painting process. Like, it's just a dream come true. And it's always available. It's not like, oh, I have to be in the perfect mindset or get the exact right, music going in the studio. It's just like, He's always there, and He's always available, and His voice is gentle, and His voice is clear and unhurried. And I have had such a great time with this in the last few years, making paintings, like individual paintings and whole bodies of work based on working in that way intuitively and listening to the Spirit, that I really want to share that with other people, or just connect with other people that also work that way, that also are actively connecting with God while they're painting. It's like the coolest thing ever. This is a piece that I just finished. I'm so excited about it because there's so many layers underneath. I've been working kind of in a new way, trying to sort of reach into more abstract work. I feel like I'm a representational artist at my core, but I love abstract painting so much. Like, that's what I want to hang in my house. So I've been stretching into more abstract painting. But the process is a bit different because when you're painting from a source image, you can check it against the reference and kind of have those checks within themselves. Like, you're checking against a picture. But when you're working abstractly, there's no picture to check from, and you're just responding to the actual painting. So it's a process where you have to be a lot more sensitive to what's happening on the canvas. And what I wanted for this piece was for it to feel like rock and waves and like a natural, like natural textures, where they weren't being made by paint so much. But there's also a lot of play that happens. So in saying that, it's an iterative process where there's a lot of different layers. So for this piece, there was probably like 3 or 4 different finished paintings that got covered up by paint until the bear that you can see and the little cub kind of like arrived on the scene. So for this one, I had my son come in and paint on it at one point, and he put stripes all over it, and it was fantastic. And we glued a magazine page in and then poured more paint on it and covered it up. And so now when I look at this, I love the bear and the cub. I feel like they look like they work, but also there's like so much texture underneath that you can see kind of like peeking through. And that to me is really special. It feels really like fresh and exciting to me, because it's like a different way of working that's more challenging for me. So yeah, I am really excited about that one. That one's called Carry On. So this is another piece that I just finished. We just went camping as a family at Fintry Provincial Park, and the sunsets on both nights that we were there were just stunning. So I took a bunch of photos. I went down to the beach with Hudson and took a photo that inspired this painting. And so this is like, I wanted to convey the feeling of walking towards the lake, and kind of like when you have this anticipation of like, how beautiful the sunset is and you're walking towards it, but you've got to walk through, you've got to walk down the path, you need to walk over the field and like get through the trees. So it's kind of like the anticipation of something really beautiful that's about to happen. And so I don't usually have as much foreground in the painting, but I loved painting the kind of meadow in front of the sunset, because it was just an opportunity to use lots of different textures and colors. And then there's this like kind of hope of this beautiful sunset that's coming up into view. So this one called Meander.